Electronic beds at 6:29.
Though the clock says something, our phone says 6:30. So welcome to our meeting, and may I have a roll call, Mr. Weber, please?
Mr. Demakia.
Yes.
Mr. Fallis.
Present.
Mr. Smith.
Present.
Mr. Sturgill.
Here.
And Mr. Williams.
Here. And this time, we would have the Pledge of Allegiance. This time we have recognition of visitors, and we'll turn over to Superintendent Tucker.
We're going to change the order on these a little bit. First, we'd like to have Patty O'Brien from the Stocker Center come up. And as you know, we got a grant, and I'll let her explain.
Thank you, Superintendent Tucker. Thank you, members of the school board, for inviting me to come be part of your board meeting this evening. In June of 2014, the Stocker Foundation Board approved a grant for $1.25 million. The grant is payable over 5 years and will be used to enhance and increase enrollment in preschool, particularly on the east side of Lorain at Larkmore Elementary School, which we know hasn't had preschool in that part of the community for about 10 years. So our dollars will be used to enhance an already existing best practice curriculum. Will be used to hire teachers, which has already all happened. There's 2 classrooms there, and there are 40 children currently enrolled, which is maximum capacity. So I'm here this evening to award officially the big check, which is real exciting,
All right.
to the district.
Beautiful.
So, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. We've been increasing preschool for the past 2.5 years, and we've gone from approximately 75 or 80 students to almost 300. We have 5 preschool locations, and that was the last section of town that we did not have a preschool in, was the east side, and we're pleased to have that. We've been trying to get this check presented here for a while, but we had some scheduling issues because we've been moving board meetings and some commission meetings, but we finally had an opportunity to publicly acknowledge that, even though there was already a press release. But our students are already there, and we got approved this summer for that facility, and those students are attending. So we thank the Stocker Center for their gracious foundation for working on our literacy for our students. Okay. Next, we'd like to have Aramark.
Good evening. I'm here to give the annual presentation of the food service from last year. Again, I was going to be on the board agenda a couple times and got moved around, so it's a little late, but it's still very relevant. I believe everyone got a copy of the information in your packets, so I'll just go through it briefly. Some of the highlights: last year we began the community eligibility program, which all students pre-K through 8th grade eat breakfast and lunch at no cost. Parents do not have to fill out a free and reduced lunch application any longer for those students pre-K through 8. And it has had significant impact on our food service program, financially and participation, as you'll see from the information I've provided. We were also named one of the top 10 breakfast programs in the state by the Ohio Children's Hunger Alliance. And we added Kelly Kaminsky, a registered dietitian, to our staff with Aramark here in the district. As you can see by the participation, our enrollment went down a little bit from 2012-13 to 2013-14, but our breakfast meals went down about 230 a day, primarily from the high school, and then our lunch participation went up 226 a day from the I believe, from the CEO program. They weren't even free. Which is we went down about 5 meals per day. And you have to take into consideration, we had 9 snow days and some horrific weather. So going down 5 meals a day, what we went through last winter, I'm pretty happy with that. As you can see, our breakfast participation went down 0.65%. Again, that's from, I believe, the loss of the breakfast meals at the high school. And then our lunch participation, I'm proud to say, went up 7% over last year. Financially, you can see that it has had a significant impact on our food service fund from the previous year to this past year. And I won't go through all those numbers for you. You have them all there with you. I'm very proud to say that Aramark has implemented a very strong safety program for our employees. And last year we had 0 recordable accidents. That's with 70 employees in 15 locations. We had a 0 OSHA rate. The year before that, we had 6 accidents. So we've implemented a 2 to 3 minute safety huddle every day where our employees meet for 2 minutes, talk about the safety topic of the day, such as cuts and lacerations or slips, trips, and falls or struck by. And I believe that really has had a significant impact, just the awareness of talking about it for 2 minutes a day. For having 0% or 0 accidents, we received the Aramark Regional Award for Safety Excellence this year. Marketing and growth, 9 through 12, we have our field programs, which is a food promotion where students 9 through 12, we feature a special of the week where we do sampling a few days ahead. We cut up a piece of pizza and do free sampling so the kids could try it. At elementary schools, we do the ACE, who's our cartoon character who does nutrition education, pre-K through 6th grade. We also partner with General Mills to do 2 bike promotions, free bike promotions for breakfast. And last year we obtained 1 fresh fruit and vegetable grant for Hawthorne Elementary School, where students received a fresh fruit or vegetable snack throughout the year, which was about $20,000. Health and wellness, again, we've added Kelly Kaminsky, our registered dietitian. We do Healthy for Life brochures that are at every entryway of all schools. Kelly did Meet the Dietitian booths at the high school and middle schools during National Nutrition Month. We did a Eat a Rainbow on Your Plate for the elementary schools, which is this, again, food sampling of different colorful fruits and vegetables. We use a computer program called NutriKids that does a nutrient analysis of all of our menus so that we know for sure that we're in compliance with all the USDA regulations. And let's see, we also do a survey with all of our middle school and high school students. And as you can see from the information provided, that we have increased dramatically in just about every category from the prior year to this year. There's about 15 different categories listed there. And community engagement, once again, this last year, Aramark donated $20,000 to the district to be used by the superintendent at his discretion. And Aramark employees gathered and donated about over 800 canned goods for the Salvation Army holiday food drive. Catering services, we do provide catering services throughout the year. We did about $5,000 in revenue in catering last year. We have a significant employee recognition program, as you can see. Employee Appreciation Day, meal goal incentives, perfect attendance, and we do an encore, which is an on-site appreciation when we see someone going above and beyond, using their cut glove or helping out a student or helping out a principal, going above and beyond. We give them a coupon, which is they could go online and receive a prize, a very nice kind of prize. I did a little employee spotlight there on Kelly, our registered dietitian. And for this year, we're currently working on implementing the new USDA guidelines. Each year, there's something changes a little bit, gets a little different, a little, we'll say, tighter. This year, there's restrictions on sodium that we are following. There's a number that we have to meet every week on average. And this year, also, our a la carte and snacks that are sold campus-wide, just not in the food service department, but campus-wide, have to meet the healthy guidelines. This year, we also will have a CRE, which is our big ODE USDA audit of our food service program, which will be coming up this winter. And we continue to do the monthly fuel and ACE promotions. And this year, I'm happy to say we had 4 schools receive the fresh fruit and vegetable grant, which is about $80,000 in fresh fruit and vegetables that we'll be distributing throughout the year at 4 elementary schools. And we will be implementing a new in the classroom elementary nutrition education program, which has lesson plans and step-by-step kind of things where teachers can use themselves, or they could have Kelly or myself go in and actually do the lesson for the day. Any questions? Comments?
We'd like to hear about those $80,000 grants.
Thank you.
Frank,
Thanks, Frank.
if I might just, I hope that you continually remind your people how important they are in the lives of our children.
I do.
Because for many of, as you know, many of our kids, their safest time of day is when they're in school, where they're assured to get at least 2 hot meals. And I just don't think you can overdo reminding your people how important that is, because as the Salvation Army learned a long time ago, unless the tummy is full, the brain's not operating. And so when you start them off at breakfast and at lunch, it's just wonderful. So thank you,
Thank you.
and all of your people. And welcome, Kelly. I liked your 8th grade graduation picture here, too.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Frank. Okay, tonight we have a presentation by Lorain Digital Academy. Lorain Digital Academy, which you'll learn in a little bit, is a digital, which is a community conversion school. Basically, it is a charter school sponsored by Lorain City School District, although there is no charter schools in the state of Ohio. They're called conversion schools or community schools. If you are a school sponsored by a school district, of which our Digital Academy is, it's called a conversion school. I've invited the staff and Allison Humphreys, who is the director of that particular program, to explain some things and go through, and she has a number of students here. Allison.
First of all, I'd like to say good evening, Mr. Superintendent, Mr. President, and the board members for inviting us here so we can give you a past and present overview of the Digital Academy this evening. I have brought along with myself, some of my staff members, and some cheerleaders of the Digital Academy. I have to skip on over here. No, I really can't skip because of my knee surgery, and I won't show you how I skip these days because it's awfully funny. But I do want to share with you briefly a bit about the Lorain Digital Academy. Lorain Digital Academy is an opportunity, not an alternative. It provides a blended learning environment where students complete work at home, or they have the option to come into the Digital Academy. 4 rooms of the General Johnny Wilson, that's where we're housed, at General Johnny Wilson. We have 4 rooms, and we have a staff there, so they have the option to come on in and get assistance from our highly qualified teachers. And I want you to please remember that the Lorain Digital Academy is an online, at-home school that will never replace the brick and mortar building. Why choose the Digital Academy? As of today, we have 168 diversified learners. They are at the digital for many reasons. They are expelled. They are there to recover credits, too old for the public school. Some just don't fit in. They are a teen parent. They want to get away from the drama, the bullying. Some work during the day, some are providing for their families. We are available to meet their needs on a daily basis. We also, for the first time this year, have a qualified clinical social worker. We have also added weekly late night Thursdays, so the students that have to provide for their families 9 to 5 do come in on a weekly basis on Thursdays to receive tutoring in the evenings. Our students have 24 hours, 7 days a week, and 200 days during the school year to complete a full school year. They have they have to put in 5 hours a day, 25 hours a week to fulfill their requirements on a weekly basis. We have a new parent orientation procedure. The parents and the students come in every Wednesday. That is our orientation day when we orient our new students, and it's once a week. The parents and the students go in with Mr. Weber and Jessica Stefanchek, and they discuss the whole process. And then the parents, after about 45 minutes, come back into my lab, and I discuss the procedures for the students and the parents. What we decided to do for this year is that the parents have got to be part of the team. If the parents are not part of the team, there is no way this process is going to work. And I simply explained to the parent, when I send you a mandatorily withdraw letter and you call me and say, Ms. Humphreys, how can I get this child, or how can I keep my child in your school? I say to them, why weren't you looking at their progress on a daily basis? They now have the passcode into their child's account. They see that their child is doing work on a daily basis. They see that their assignments are being completed or not completed. This is a team approach. They have a specific tutor assigned to them. They call the tutor, they call me, they call Ms. Gail, they call Ms. Jessica, they call everybody in the office. They have that number that gets to anybody. So there is no way they should not know that their child is not putting 5 hours in, 25 hours a week. They have 7 days to put that in. So I want the parents well aware of what's going on a daily basis or a weekly basis. So we have a specific time that we work with the parents on that orientation day. And then the students work with us for the rest of the day. They have a 4-hour orientation, so they've already have 4 hours in and go home for that extra hour to work for that day. And then we have a new employment mentoring outreach program. I'm going to have Mrs. Gretchen Weber talk about that very briefly. If you would stand, Mrs. Weber.
I am thrilled to begin my 20th year in career education and bringing it to the digital. We are doing a program that helps the kids see why we are educating them today. What this is all really going to be used at some time in the future for them to have make good career choices. We start the process with doing several inventories. They research careers. They look at critical details like what does it pay? How long does it take me to become one of them? What kind of training do I have to have? am I gonna be able to get a job once I train in that field? And then we're gonna explore careers virtually. We purchased a few subscription websites this year that they can go in and actually see the newer and really cool careers out there and the regular ones. And they can see people and interview them and ask them questions. Then they're also gonna learn how to create a resume. They're going to learn to fill out both paper and online applications. They're gonna practice their interviewing skills. And I'm gonna try to bring in some different speakers in different career areas. We are going to arrange for some of the students to do a job shadow at a job site. And we are also planning some field trips for the kids, even in the, still an English teacher at heart too. So we're doing some things for the theater at the Stafford Center for doing some of the things that they're. And hopefully this will help the kids see that they can find a career that they love. They will be able to earn the money, that they can live the lifestyle they want and move out of their parents' house.
Thank you.
Basement.
No basements.
So, throughout this presentation, you will continue to learn about the Digital Academy from its inception to the present. Will our board members that we have here today please stand? We have Mrs. Jean Rice that's here, Mrs. Amber Knowles that's here, and Mr. Jack Yamaris is here. Thank you. And these are the people that make up our Digital Academy today. Lorain Digital Academy is sponsored by Lorain City Schools. It is an independent community school that has the same statutory and educational responsibilities as Lorain City Schools or any other district in the state of Ohio. I have a handout for everyone that they can take as they exit. But I will just let you know that Lorain Digital receives an average of $5,800 per student from the state. And as you can see, this is where our money goes for our students. Just some tidbits about the Ohio Revised Code. Again, the financial aspects of the Ohio Revised Code. A representative of the sponsor, knowledgeable in school finance based on education or experience, shall meet with the board of directors or treasurer of the sponsored entity and shall review the financial and enrollment records of that entity at least once every month. That would be Mr. Tucker or Mr. Dr. David Hall. Once a month, the Lorain Digital Academy has a board meeting, and Dr. Hall or Mr. Tucker come to that board meeting along with Mr. Weber. We are very transparent. We have a board meeting just like this board meeting. We have an agenda just like this agenda here, and we explain our finances, we go over our finances, we let everyone know what we are planning to purchase or not purchase, or where we're going to take our kids, or anything that is on our mind and on our plate. So it's very transparent. And now I would like Mr. Weber to come up and explain a little bit of then, so we can get to the now.
Hello, my name is John Weber, and I handle the technology at the digital. I also do the orientations that Allison was talking about. Just for information, I graduated from Lorain City Schools, and I came back here to teach, and I retired from Lorain City Schools. Upon my retirement, Fred Dahl, who I had worked with through the years of there, he asked me if I would come in 2003 and take their technology department over there to help them into digital. And Fred, I always liked Fred because he was kind of like a visionary. He always tried to convince us that that not every, that one size didn't fit all, and that he thought that all kids should somehow maybe get some individualized instruction. We even used to talk about, he said it would be nice if every single kid had an IEP, which would almost be impossible to do. But he had this vision, and the digital came pretty close to his vision, where he said that technology should not replace teachers, but if you could do this, it would actually free teachers where the kids could be working individually on their lessons, and then the teachers could become mentors, and then actually walk the kids through their individual lessons, and time wouldn't be a factor. And so he said teachers would love that because they could really do things and be that mentor and really help kids, and kids could be working individually for their strengths and weakness as he did that. So back then, when he started, there were 4 academies. And the reason he had 4 academies was funding. He found out that when if he had 1 digital academy, he got so much funding, and they told him, well, if you had 4, you get 4 times the amount. That caused a lot of problems with paperwork and things, but that's why they started out with 4 funding. And at the beginning, they only had between 25 and 100 students enrolled in those 4 academies. They only graduated about 5 students a year because we only had about 100 kids. And all the graduations were at the digital, and you can see Fred there, and sometimes the superintendent would show for these in-house graduations. And you can see some of the graduation rates, and in 2011 we have that in blue because we started doing more of the blended and bringing in more of the teachers or the tutors who actually is almost going with Fred's idea of being mentorship. That's what they do. And the kids have started coming in more and getting that help, and I think that's why you see an increase there in some of those numbers. Back then, kids were given a 50-pound eMac, a keyboard, a printer, a scanner, and they connected with a dial-up modem. They had to plug in their phone line next to their computer, so it was not very mobile in their house there. The curriculum was provided by Trekkie Digital Academy. That's where the teachers of record are. And they used what's called an Angel Learning System, which was all text-based because of this dial-up. You could not do a lot of graphics and everything else because of this dial-up. And so most activities were actually offline. They would download lessons, do their activities, and have to then submit their lessons online. And so a lot of kids, you see those numbers fluctuating, a lot of kids came in and said, wow, this is harder than the school I came from, I'm going back. And they did that. They said it was a lot of work, and the curriculum was pretty tough. Now, we give them Toshiba laptops, 15-inch Toshiba laptops. It's all DSL, only the elementary gets a printer and a scanner. Again, it's by Trekkie. We now use a Plato learning system, which can be graphics based now because we have high speed. And again, they can do their education basically anywhere in the world now. They don't have to do that. And almost all the activities now are online except for a few what they call the Dropbox activities when they do that. The 4 academies now have been gotten rid of. We now have 1 academy because of again, we don't need that funding piece anymore. We enroll anywhere 150 plus students, and we graduate now 20 to 25 kids a year. And the kids like it now because they get to go and walk at George Daniel with the rest. To give you one example, my granddaughter was in this program, and she was doing so well, she actually had her cousin from New Jersey who just needed a few credits come to live in Lorain to go into our program, and she actually beat my granddaughter, and she went back to New Jersey, but she came all the way back to walk, because that's how important it was for her to walk at that part there. So I think you can see a lot of kids are doing that. First, turn it back over to Allison, and very quickly now, Allison will tell you just real quick about a couple slides in the program and see some students.
So the Lorain Digital Academy program. We have online classwork. The teachers of record are the teachers at Trekkie, the Trekkie program. Our teachers are qualified teachers, except they are tutors. They are not the teachers of record. Plus, Our in-school structured learning from our tutors gives us the blended learning environment. Our extended learning, we call them digital corporations, but they're basically our clubs. We have Cooking with a Groove, Designer Row, our students learn how to sew, radio and podcasts. We have the music studio. We have video editing. We have a digital yearbook this year. It's the first time in digital history that our students took pictures with Life Touch. We have the Gamers Club, C-SPAN Student Cam Project, and Teen Moms Group. Before we move any further, I would like to bring Tony Munez up. You can speak right at the podium right there, and he would like to tell you his experience.
Boom, boom, boom. Good afternoon.
Lorain Digital Academy.
Good afternoon, everybody. I'd just like to say that my name is Tony Munez, and before I came to the Lorain Digital Academy, I actually came from an expulsion. You know, I came to LDA as a young father and stuff. You know, I even came in there thinking I wasn't even about to graduate. You know, I don't even know why I was even coming, but you know, since my enrollment last year, I now gained the confidence. I am about to graduate. I'm actually completing the lessons that I need to get done. You know, I'm actually happy. I only got 14 more lessons till I need to graduate. Only 14, you know. So yeah, you know. I just like to thank everybody, the staff. You know, they look after me, make sure I come every day. They help me set up appointments for my tutors. You know, we got clubs. You know, I'm in the yearbook. I'm in the cooking. I'm in the C-SPAN project where if I win, I can actually get $5,000 cash. You know, it's mine. You know, lunch on everybody. It's on me. You know, so you know, I get it. You know, it's just a lot of good things in this program, and I'm actually kind of happy that I came here. You know, now I can actually do a dream of mine, that's which is going to the military, fighting for our country. You know, and it's pretty feasible now that I can actually do this. And I'm actually happy, and I thank everybody that helped me and stuff. And with all that being said, I'd like to introduce Joshua Perez here to take over the rest.
Hello, my name is Joshua. I'm 17 and I'm a senior and about to graduate, just on the verge of that. And I am so thankful for this program because there's a lot of things that I like to do, but as Mr. Biggio says, I'm a starter, but not a finisher. And they helped me finish a lot of stuff. And the programs, C-SPAN, kind of working with that. I'm pretty good at it. Mr. Biggio helping me. Miss Gretchen, I want to thank her for letting me understand the after school, what I have to do to become me. My mom, what she says is if you want to be something, you got to try hard. And they've helped me try hard. And I want to thank all of you guys.
And before we go any further, I would like to show you just a little piece of one of our graduates.
Turn to the computer.
Before I came here, I was really high. I was struggling in my algebra 2 class. They would not switch me, and I wanted to graduate early, and I didn't want that on my report card that I failed a class. And I talked to my friend Angie, and she referred me here. And I came, and I signed up. And as I first started, it was slightly difficult, but all these great people around me, they helped me. I made appointments. I came in, got extra help. They really want me to graduate, and they really want me to do the best I can do, succeed in everything I did. What I'm doing now, I have 2 jobs. Well, I just got my 3rd one yesterday. And I'm going to school for phlebotomy, and through them I got within the EDGE program, so I'm going to school for free. I got me a car now. I'm doing pretty much really, really good. I come and visit them all the time because they're great people. They really wanted me to graduate. They encouraged me to do the best I can. And without them, I'd probably still be in high school, struggling, trying to make up that class I failed. So I'm thankful for them, and I'm glad somebody referred me here, and I refer everybody to to come here.
So, I would like to thank everybody for coming this evening to listen to what Lorain Digital and the true sponsorship that Lorain Digital has with Lorain City Schools and what they have been able to give to the students of Lorain City Schools. The opportunity for 23 students last year to graduate, and we are looking for more students to graduate this year and following years to come. So thank you everyone for coming out. Mr. Tucker, thank you for giving me the opportunity to share with the board what we have for the students of Lorain. Thank you everyone.
Tim, you might as well just walk out the door, I guess.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you could carry your conversations outside, please, so we can reconvene. Thank you so much. Appreciate that. So again, that was a wonderful presentation, and it's always a learning piece here, and we always feel better when we become better informed about some of the really good things that are going on in the district. As it relates to Digital Academy, there is another conversation that we will entertain in the near future. I believe it is our board's responsibility to appoint members to the board of Digital Academy. And Mr. Weber and I have had some discussion along with other board members, and we're going to probably invite their board members to a meeting in the near future so that we can make sure that we have objective protocols by which we make those appointments, and so that we're making sure that we're fulfilling our responsibility in terms of helping that institution to continue with the success. So expect that to come up in the very near future. When do we actually do the next appointment? How does?
There's nothing in law. We targeted January.
Okay.
Yeah.
So again, that's a conversation that we will have in the near future. And without any further ado, we are ready for our first public hearing. If anyone would like to address the board at this time. Thank you. And now we need to approve or amend the signed minutes from special board meeting held on Monday, September 29th, 2014.
Motion to approve the minutes?
Second.
Discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Demakia?
Yes.
Mr. Sturgill?
Yes.
Mr. Fallis?
Yes.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Williams?
Yes. Is there any old business for discussion? This time we would have a report and recommendations of the treasurer. Mr. Weber?
Okay. This is the 5-year forecast for October 2014. And yes, the arrow should be. So just some basic things we kind of go over every time I present this. There are submissions that are due every May and October. It's a state requirement, twice a year. All school districts in the state of Ohio must submit, including the community schools. No change there. And all the forecasts for all the school districts on the Ohio Department of Education website, along with all the assumptions. They're all alphabetically by school district. There's 5 years of forecasted data. It's fiscal year 2014-15 through fiscal year 2018-19. Every October, we add a year at the end over here. The May submission is just an update. So we had to add a year and go out to 18-19 for this submission today. It contains over 300 assumptions, from salaries and benefits to deductions for community schools and everything in between. There's all kinds of assumptions are in there. The forecast is the basis for legal approvals, for appropriations, for contracts. That's why it's so important to get it right and to get it reasonable, correct, and defendable. Because that's if you put items in there which aren't very palatable, it doesn't make us helpful to our business for the whole school district. Big key assumption for us, and there's only 5 or 6 slides this evening. The real estate revenue, the taxpayers passed the levy back in 2011. It was called the renewal levy from years and years ago. The full voted rate is 23.85 mils. There's something called an effective rate, which is because property values rise and legislature decided to help the taxpayer out 30 or 40 years ago. The real rate the taxpayer pays is called the effective rate, which is 15.79 mils. So what I have to do in the forecast, since that has to get renewed in sometime either November 2015 or calendar 2016, I have to show that coming out of the forecast on the revenue side and coming back in on a renewal line way at the bottom of the forecast because it has to get revoted on by the public every 5 years. Key assumption. Another key assumption is state funding is held flat at the 2014-15 levels. This is year 2 of our state biennium budget. There'll be a new budget approved by the legislature, the governor, ODE, everything, by June 30th, 2015. I have no idea what those assumptions will be going forward. There'll be all kinds of things in the paper about it starting in the late winter and in the spring.
After the election.
After the election, that's a great point, yeah. Okay, the key expense assumptions are we negotiated a bunch of union contracts the last year and a half. Those assumptions are in there. The health insurance cost growth is another key assumption. We have a consultant we work with. The growth is about 6% a year. Is what we've been kind of running on that, so that's a pretty good assumption, we think. And deductions for community schools, I have baked in the forecast to increase by $3.5 million a year. That's the largest single unknown cost element. That doesn't mean it's going to happen. It certainly isn't a guarantee. We've been running about that the last 2, 3, 4 years, but this is the one that could really help us quite a bit if the deductions get less going forward. There's also a new way, I understand, that the community schools are counting the kids. It's more in sync with the school districts, which should make it made more accurate and hopefully maybe some help us out go over time. But I won't really know that until about January. That's when I know when that thing comes out, because the count weeks come in, state of Ohio has to go through its analyses, and then we get our adjusted funding starting in like late December and into January, after the first of the year. Okay, this is the forecast as it stands today. This is the one I'm going to submit by the end of the month. Fiscal year 14 is the actual. We're in fiscal year 15. So we're projecting, the good news is it's in the black, 26,307. And I have going out, you can see some deficits in there. But what I also wanted to do was do what's called some what-if analyses. Okay, what if means what happens if a couple things happen to help us out. That's the baseline you just saw. Okay, so what if we don't lose, or we don't have a cost increase of $3.5 million this year for those community schools? How does that forecast look? That's how it looks. Okay, we're a lot better this year, and we're in the black next year, and we look there's some deficits to work through for the years out. What happens if we hold it flat for 2 consecutive years and not just 1? No cost increases. That's how that looks. Okay, it gets really good if we can just not have the deductions for community schools increase every year. It gets a lot better. Now, the bottom 2 rows are certainly not a guarantee, okay? But you can see this is the challenge of the district, is to help through these deductions and whatnot. Okay, so this stuff will be on our website, Rain City Schools website, the ODE website by the end of the month, with a bunch of assumptions. And that's how it looks. And I think we're on the uptick. It's most positive I've felt in a while, but we still got some work to do going forward. And any questions? Right, Matt? Yes, sir.
It's the numbers that you are showing, going back to what you said earlier, assume the renewal will be passed before the end of 2016.
Right. That's correct.
Otherwise,
right. It's in the top row there. That's correct statement. It assumes it does get passed.
and you're using, I think you told me earlier, you're assuming assumptions are based on what we've been receiving in property tax.
Right.
you haven't done anything in order to adjust for delinquencies.
I did take it down, the property tax, I reduced it by $100,000 a year. Well, what we had since last year. So, because just the things I feel more comfortable with. So I did take it down a little bit. That's my personal
Right,
opinion.
well,
It certainly isn't a
no, it's
guarantee.
only a forecast.
I don't have any knowledge that it's gonna happen
And,
actually.
your question is the $5 million or $4.5 million setting out there, that is not included in that. That's-
Well,
that-
the fact that we never got it.
We
in the
never
first
got it,
place
Right.
correct.
Right, so that would be
Right.
a sort of windfall.
Right, if we ever got to be a windfall.
Okay.
I base the real estate tax on two things. I do analysis on what we got last year, and I get the county auditor's numbers. Now, he assumes gross levels,
Right.
100% collections. I certainly do not put that in there. So I do my own analyses, that's when I come up with real estate. Actually, it's real estate and it's also the personal property tax too, which is a lot less. As a footnote to this, in the forecast, you'll see in the detailed, the sheet looks like this. You know, that personal property tax revenue is only about $750,000. 4 or 5 years ago, we were getting $6 million
Right.
personal property tax. The state phased that out
Right.
in favor of something called a commercial activity tax. The personal property tax was district-specific. That commercial activity tax goes into the big pot of the state, and they do their magic down there with it. Okay? So that's a pretty big hit for us. And
They're
that's
good
what
friends in the legislature.
went away. So,
Always thinking of
Yeah.
us, yes.
okay?
Now you see it.
And your assumptions in the community school only relate to community schools, not to open enrollment? Or is that-
Well, the
That is
$3.5
a- that is-
million, the $3.5 million increase is a combination of the community schools open enrollment and the voucher programs.
Okay, all
together.
right, thank you.
So, I had it for the summer, I put it.
Sure, that's fine, no,
Yeah.
that's good.
The other two things I want to make mention, which Dale said, but he has treasure speak sometime. That he's assuming that there is no increase from the legislature this spring. Okay, done. And we don't know what that is because there's an election, and the state's sitting on billions of dollars right now. The other issue for us, which Dale talked about earlier, is we're still on a cap this year. And that hurt us last year. So you got three kinds of school districts in Ohio. Ones that are not on anything. You've got the districts that are guaranteed money, which means they're getting more money than they should, and those of us that aren't getting as much as we're supposed to. So that cap is hurting us because even though we get additional students, we don't get additional monies for that. What it can do, though, is if it works out, then we mitigate the loss of dollars going out. That's why it isn't about enrollment in and out. It is, but it isn't specific to that. You know, in the old days, you go, that student's worth $6,000. Now, with the funding and the way the formula is, it isn't always that way. It's the dollars and how the formula works out. We used to always have October count week. We're in the middle of October count week. We've had that. That's all gone away. So now students are being, what we understand, by the hour they're in school, they're paid. So students leave school early, they're only in half a day, we don't get paid half a day. If we have a calamity day, have as many as you want. You don't make money. So it's a little bit different. You got to be a little, and we don't know how that'll work out. We think for Lorain, it will help us. It will help us the way that we're doing, because we're going to track our students. We always get an influx of students in the spring. And we should be able to receive money for them. Before we didn't. We got nothing. Whatever it was in October, that was our number. We may have got some more in the next year as an adjustment.
I'm sorry. What are do you know what the factors are that the state uses to determine whether we're a district that gets capped or a district that gets more than we're supposed
Sure.
to?
Yep.
And that still falls under that unconstitutional funding formula in the state of Ohio that was deemed unconstitutional.
There has been, since the year 2006, 5 or 6 different funding formulas. And the one Governor Kasich proposed and the legislature passed, in fact, I even went down and testified for it, Lorain did very, very well. And it was based on a number of items, which is poverty level, income level, property value level, et cetera, et cetera. Lorain is in the top 10 of every category. We should have got 15 million more total for 2 years.
say yeah.
Yeah, we should, but we're capped. What they did was they figured out how much money they had to give out, and then they capped us. But there's also school systems that should get less money, but they're guaranteed. So we're capped. We should be sitting another, what was it this year? 6 million? Or was that last year?
Well, last year was about over 8.
Oh, we should have got 8 million more additional dollars, but we were capped. Based upon the formula that they have, they capped us.
I'm going to make an assumption that we're
We're still
one of the
capped?
highest poverty school districts in the state of Ohio, and we get capped.
We're in the top 10 of most categories when we did the formula, and that includes special needs students and other items.
And then the only other question I have goes back to the community schools. I know we talk about that 3.5 million, but what is the actual cost of this district on a yearly basis for community schools?
Right now, it's $16.8 million.
$16.8 million. So is it safe to assume that if we didn't have to, if we only had to pay for our own kids' education here, that we wouldn't have a deficit? Yeah, it's safe to assume, right? I know. I just have to make that point every time, because it's, sometimes it's very frustrating in the state of Ohio because of that element that school districts have to cut out from educating and giving even a higher quality education than what we already give because of a factor like this. And I just wish at some point in time the legislation would come to their senses and figure this out and right the wrong in the state of Ohio, because it is extremely frustrating, and that problem is only getting bigger and bigger. I know they're hammering on some of these schools and holding them more accountable, but I mean, it's a little late for some of these school districts. I just, I like to point that out because that really bothers me.
I have a question, because I've seen it recently in some of the other districts. They're making adjustments, graduation dates and different things, coming with these strategies around trying to capture the greatest number of hours in school. Do we anticipate that this change in the formula how do we think it's going to impact us?
We think it'll be to the better. If you remember this year, our calendar was adjusted too. We made our adjustments this year also. We anticipated that, and that's why we started a week and a half earlier. Part of that was for assessments, but part of that is for testing. The one thing that will benefit us is, one, there was a lot of games that other districts played and other people played around October count week. Now, and our students ebb and flow. We have a mobility rate in town, and sometimes that wasn't reflected in the funding that we have. I think this will be to our advantage, because last year, if you remembered, I had to almost hire teachers because class sizes got big because we got more students. You would think that would mean more money. No. So the more students we got, we had to educate our students with the same amount of dollars that we had. But if there's an adjustment as you go monthly, or even if it's in arrears, because it's going to be a couple of months till they catch up, this should help the district. Good. And right now, our enrollment's holding pretty steady, and we're still looking good. And the problem with, like what Dale said, is he won't know till January the effect of all this is, because you're always 6-8 months, and that's what happened last year. And every year is we get in February, and all of a sudden they start the adjustments come in, and now you got to fix your budget. And you only have 4 or 5 months to adjust your budget. So at this point, we're hopeful, but it's a new funding formula, and you never know.
You said, Tom, that if we had a snow day, that we could lose money. Did I hear you correctly? We're
still trying to figure out what that formula is. The latest EMIS we heard is when students are in school, they're paid. Am I correct on that? That's what we're told. But we're not quite sure how that's all going to work out. This is just the information we're receiving at our updates.
So the 3 days the students were out at Admiral King, those were...
We will have to see how that plays out, yes.
But if we make the time up, the day's up.
Then we would
Even though
assume...
we wouldn't have to.
That's correct. Yes. Yes.
Okay.
And we're not sure yet. We're still, this is what they're talking about, because right now you have to be in school a number of hours, and our hours are 1,000 and something at the high school and 9 something at the elementaries, and we exceed that. We always have, and most districts like us do. That's just the nature of what it is.
Any other questions, gentlemen?
It is confusing.
Thank you. Mr. Weber, you can continue.
Legislature. Friends, come on. I don't know what they're doing.
Oh, okay.
We're just excited we're in the black this year.
Yes. So that being said, I have, there's 4 items on the docket for approval from the treasurer's office. Item 1 is the September 2014 financial reports. Item 2 is the purchase orders over $3,000 requiring board approval. Item 3 is the semi-annual 5-year forecast, and item 4 is the approval of 5 donations. I recommend for approval items 1, 2, 3, and 4.
Items 1 through 4.
Support.
Discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Demakia?
Yes.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Fallis?
Yes.
Mr. Sturgill?
Yes.
Mr. Williams?
Yes.
Ms. Rice, are you still on the Harrison board?
Yes.
Would you pass our thank you? Would you pass our thank you to them for the books? Okay, thank you.
This time we have report recommendations of the superintendent. Mr. Tucker.
Just a quick report, Admiral King still remains closed. Everything I know, you know, I'm pretty transparent. I put out the information to the community and to the press as soon as I get it verified. We're doing more testing right now, and we're hoping they can get it fixed by this week. We don't know at this point where we're at. So you know, pretty much what I put in the public release was we were ready to go. We had 7 straight days or 6 straight days of 0 readings. We had called a press conference because I just didn't want to be on the phone with everybody all night. And at 2:05, I believe, I could check my iPhone, Mr. Hawk said, "You're not going to believe this. Channel 8 was already here, and some of the press was here, and they said, we found gas, we're closing you down." Of course, it had to be 30 minutes before the students were walking out the door, and after some of the students had already gone home. I will say that the media and the press has been extremely helpful with us to get this information out to our parents. And I know it's a struggle for everybody, but believe me, we all want to go back. We were packed. We were ready to move. We had everything set to go. So that was what that press release was. And as soon as we know anything, I'll put more information out. So we're still hopeful. So. Okay, personnel matters A, item 1, A and B, are resignations and retirements. You'll notice more of the teachers, because of the changes in the laws, are retiring. And we are going ahead and going to a number of job fairs to replace that. Item 2, consider approval of appointments. A, we're always looking for new substitutes, and we've changed the Gear Up program coordinator substantially. Dale is replacing some people who have resigned from his staff, and support staff as listed. Retirements and resignations of certified staff as listed, support staff as listed. Item 2, appointments as listed. And let's see, page 3, leave of absences as listed. Item 4, supplemental contracts. These are the special ed ones. Item 5, supplemental contracts for our teacher mentors, which is part of the ODE program. And item 6, these are the annual approval of salary adjustments that we do. So I ask approval of personnel matters A, items 1 through 6.
Motion to approve items 1 through 6.
Support. Discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Sturgill?
Yes.
Mr. Fallis?
Yes.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Demakia?
Yes.
Mr. Williams?
Yes.
Personnel matters A, items 7, 8, 9, and 10. These are new job descriptions, and we're changing a lot of those job descriptions and raising them up with the level of the new buildings and the new requirements. So I ask for approval of A, items 7 through 10.
Motion to approve A, items 7 through 10.
Support.
Discussion? Any questions? Roll call, please.
Mr. Fallis?
Yes.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Demakia?
Yes.
Mr. Sturgill?
Yes.
Mr. Williams.
Yes.
Approval of item 11, this is the security for the bonfire. On a side note of that, I've had a meeting with the city and the parks, and we've got a plan in place that we plan to continue that, and we've got a whole lot of ideas on what we're going to do to keep that community event on track. Item 12, routine elevator contract. Item 13 and 14, these organizations help us a lot with some of our students. Item 15, this is also, and 16, these are approval of other organizations that assist with our students. And item 17 and 18 are services for our students also. So I ask for approval of Operation Matters B, items 11 through 18.
Motion to approve 11 through 18.
Second.
Discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Demakia?
Yes.
Mr. Sturgill?
Yes.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Fallis?
Yes.
Mr. Williams.
Yes.
C, other matters, item 19. We are going to be recognizing National Veterans Awareness Week, and a couple of schools have programs scheduled for those, so I ask for approval of other matters, item 19.
Motion to approve C, other matters, item 19.
So, support?
Discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Fallis?
Yes.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Sturgill?
Yes.
Mr. Demakia?
Yes.
Mr. Williams.
Yes.
And last, item 20, these are new and revised policies as recommended by the Policy Committee.
Motion to approve item 20.
Support.
Discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Sturgill?
Yes.
Mr. Fallis?
Yes.
Mr. Demakia?
Yes.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Williams.
Yes.
That concludes my report and recommendations.
Thank you, Mr. Tucker. This time, gentlemen, is there any new business for discussion? Committee reports, requests from board members.
Can I just make a comment?
Please.
I know that, again, congratulations to all the athletic events and sports teams and that, but, in the district, we haven't had I don't want to jinx it any, but, our Lorain High football team is right on the outside of making the playoffs, and, there's a couple things that need to happen, but I just want to congratulate them and that staff and those kids for doing an excellent job. I mean, you look at, the 3 losses, they come to 3 of the best teams in the state of Ohio, and, hopefully they do a great job of winning out and give themselves an opportunity, but certainly they're about a couple yards away from really controlling their own destiny with the playoff. But it's exciting for the community, exciting because I can't remember the last time we had a playoff team here in football in the city of Lorain, and it's exciting.
86?
I guess we're at number
88?
17, and we have to be in the top 16.
16.
Is that what it is?
So we're in control of our own destiny. I'd like to make one more comment, and I'm going to do this because this guy's sitting next to me, and if I didn't say it, he would say something. Our 8th grade girls volleyball team won the tournament. Won the LEL tournament, and I think they went 16-1, 17-1, something like that. I'm not sure after how many games they actually played but also the Longfellow 7th grade girls also won the LEL tournament. So we took the 7th and 8th grade this year, and it just speaks volumes to the way our programs are turning around. So congratulations to our coaches and any volunteer person who helps out, and especially to the parents who give all that support.
Yeah, we're volleyball dads, volleyball granddads, so, you might as well get used to that for the next couple of years. We're going to talk about volleyball.
Well, if I might, Mr. President, since we're talking about competitive activities, at the last board meeting, we announced bringing back the Model UN. And I heard some really good news. I had dinner this weekend with my son and his sweetheart, and they're both alumni of the Model UN program. And this Thursday, there is a gathering at Lorain High School, and the alumni of the Model UN are coming in to boost morale of the kids who are coming into the program. Is she?
Scary.
Because she's that old? Or she's in the program now?
Yeah, she's wants to go to the program now.
Oh, it's a wonderful program. Please encourage it. It's good as volleyball. If you ever, once it's up and running, I've had the pleasure of watching some of their practices. This goes back a number of years. You would swear you would swear you were at the UN. That's how polished these kids are. And Lorain, like it has in, going all the way back to the days of academic challenge. It was Lorain High, Admiral King, going home with the trophies. And as Doug White, the former mentor of the South UN, liked to say, when we go to competition, they all laugh at us because they come in big cars and we come in yellow buses. But he said it's a good thing we do because it takes a lot of room to get those trophies back to Lorain.
That's simple. Any other comments? Mitch, how you doing, man?
Doing great.
I do want to say,
Since,
Mr. Weber,
since you gave me a
cost me
cue there,
$10 tonight.
I just like to say, go Titans in fall sports and academics in the classroom as well. Go Titans.
Yes, and Mr. Weber, you cost me $10.
What was that, sir?
Mr. Williams bet me $10 that you would use the word bake in. But you didn't.
I tried not to today.
I was just like, can we deep fry? It's kind of, well, I'll share with you since we shouldn't have these inside jokes. Mr. Weber, when he's presenting his forecast, and you know how he adjusts the numbers? He's referred to that in the past as baking in things. So he almost did it when he when he talked about that one figure that he could adjust. So that's usually baking. So what we might say is, Dale, can you bake in that at 50% of that? And he would, stir it up a little bit, put the blender on, his KitchenAid, and bam, he bakes it up, right?
Yes.
So we didn't get too much baking today. When he told me there were only 5 slides, I pretty much knew there wouldn't be a lot of baking.
He didn't get to the correct chart. That's why. There's another chart.
So anyway, that's just a little thing that we have because Dale likes to bake. I guess, is that a real, financial analysis term?
He's a CPA, my God.
Or is that a Dale Weber?
No, but I hope you noticed the clever animation this evening.
Yes, yes. Well, thank you, Mr. Weber.
I liked it.
Congratulations.
Clever. It's clever. Is there anything else, gentlemen? Oh, let's see. We will not meet again. When is our next meeting?
November 3rd.
Okay, so we will meet again before the conference.
Maybe.
How many of us are going to the OSBA conference this time around? Okay, so 4 of us. Are you going, Jim? Okay. So yeah, we'll look forward to that. And Elyria City School District is actually presenting at one of the sessions. And of course, I have lots of friends there that we reacquainted ourselves with when we beat them in football. So I really had a good time. That was a fun day, walking around on the track in my alma mater, wearing my Lorain Titans gear. They did buy me a hat. It was a camouflage hat that had an E on it, but you couldn't really tell because it was so camouflage. But we beat them nicely and soundly. And so, but I did agree that I would encourage our people to support that event. So Mr. Jama's going to be presenting, which is really kind of an interesting thing. So his,
Another Lorain grad.
Yes, a Lorain grad.
And their superintendent's a Lorain grad.
Yeah, so, it'd be kind of supporting our own once removed. So anyway, I told him I would pitch that. But I think that's it for us. Is there, we have a second hearing of the public? Yes, ma'am.
Please vote. That come from Jean Rice.
Thank you.
And you'll see a difference. I can't tell you how to vote, but I can tell you I keep report cards.
You called me and told me how to vote.
Very, very, very critical that we push voting.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
I voted. I went early. I go early and often. Often Park's a little bit challenging, but early is good, huh?
You know about the time that Khrushchev and Kennedy And Daly went out on a fishing trip,
We almost made it, guys. We almost made it. Yes. Okay.
and the boat started to sink, and there were only 2 life preservers, so they decided they would vote. Daly won 5-2. No, because there was only 3 people on the boat, too.
Chicago's known for those kind of things. Okay. I just wanted to, I want to extend the meeting a little bit, Tony, because I know you really want to leave. Well, may I have, our next board meeting will be here on November 3rd, 6:30 p.m. And may I have a motion for adjournment?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Demakia?
Yeah.
Mr. Sturgill?
Yes.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Fellis?
Yes.
And Mr. Williams?
Yes. Good evening, everyone.
This has been a production of Lorain City Schools TV 20 WLCS.
To purchase a high-quality copy of the program you just viewed, please call Lorain City Schools Television at 282-8400.